Hello and welcome to our very first episode of Dead Air and Lag Spikes.
What a name.
I'm your girl Shell. Here we have Tex. Say hi,
It's your
Tex.
boy Tex.
And Joe E.
Joey, Cujo, Jotaro, Joe
I'm her
Starling.
dad.
Joey the Scrub. With allegations of being the dad to her.
Not.
Alright,
Let
so
it slide.
here on episode 1 we are going to talk about Switch stuffs, which is something near and dear to me because I stream Switch games often here on Twitch. So, Tex, you have a Switch, right?
Yeah, I just got one. Well, I got him about a month ago. I got one.
Oh, great. So, what games do you have?
I have it in front of me. So, I have Odyssey. That was the first game I bought on it.
Oh,
I
Odyssey.
got Zelda on the Wii U. I haven't actually played Odyssey on my Switch yet though, because I bought it when it came out and borrowed someone else's Switch to play it.
Oh, nice.
So that one doesn't really count. I have Splatoon 2, so we'll talk about that. I have Splasher, cool platformer. Snake Pass, also a cool platformer.
Mm-hmm.
And some other games that I don't really care that much about. So I'm not even going to mention.
All right. Yeah, well, Splatoon 2 is my main game, so let's start with that.
Yeah. I've been meaning to talk to you about Splatoon for a while.
Well, Joey had a question going into the stream.
Right.
What was your question about Splatoon, Joey?
Oh, yeah. What is that?
What is
What is-
Splatoon? Well, it is a shooter, technically a third-person shooter, but
And how does it work? Sorry.
there's two major mechanics. There's your shoot mechanic, which is obvious. You point a gun and ink comes out of it. And the other one's not so obvious. It's squid form. But this squid form part of the game mechanics really changes how it works. So in squid form, the primary thing that happens is that you recover ink. Everything that you're shooting out, you have to recover. So when you're in squid form, you fill your tank back up. But
Oh.
when you're in squid form, you're actually inside your own ink. So you can swim in the ink on any surface that your ink has been shot onto. So you can swim up walls, hop platforms more easily, and it makes it feel more like a platformer than a shooter, really.
And what's cool about it is that the goal of the game isn't to just kill everybody, to paint as much of the map with your color as you can, which is cool because the more of the map that's painted your color, the better you can move around on it. Very momentum-based game, I guess. Except, right?
Yes, it is. Well, so that's the primary mode is called Turf Wars, and it's just that whoever claims the most turf wins in 3 minutes. But there's also a ranked mode where there are slightly more complex objectives that you have to achieve. But still, it's not about getting kills, brah.
Can you tell me about those other modes? Because I actually haven't played much of the multiplayer. I've only played the single player through.
Okay, so there's 4 different modes in the game, and it just is random which one's up. They go on 2-hour rotations, so if you want to play a particular mode, you gotta check the schedule, which is unfortunate. But anyhow, let's see, the first mode is called Splat Zones. That's basically a point capture. There's a point, and only that area of ink really matters for the game. You gotta capture that point and tick down the timer. And whoever ticks down the timer first or gets the most points within the allotted time wins. Pretty simple. That's my least favorite mode, just because it's brain dead easy.
You said none of the space around the point that you're trying to capture matters, but don't you spawn pretty far away from it? Wouldn't you want area painted so you could get there faster?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so when I say it doesn't matter, it doesn't score you points. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That's called map control in the cool people Splatoon lingo.
Oh.
You gotta have map control, so that just means painting around the zone, painting the entire map in your own color, just to aid your team in moving around and inhibit the enemy team from moving around. Because you also go slow as shit when you're in the enemy ink.
Oh. I thought that game was just like Call of Duty where you just run around killing people.
Wait, did you really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well,
I had no idea there was so much into it.
Yeah, Nintendo felt really determined, I feel like, to make a game that wasn't just another shooter. Kind of wanted to make their own spin on the whole genre. Kind of.
Yeah, and that's just the first mode. So the next mode is tower control. It's basically like a payload, but it's symmetrical, right? So both teams are trying to deliver the tower into the enemy base. And if you're on the tower, it just starts moving towards the enemy
So there's
on
two
a
payloads
track.
at the same time?
No, there's only one payload,
Oh, but you're just it's like a tug of war with
but
it.
yeah, it can go either direction. And
Okay.
the track is completely symmetrical, and it starts in the middle. So yeah, like a lot like a tug of war. And it's
Are there
either
s-
get it to the zone, the goal first, or score the most points in a lot of time.
are there specific maps for specific modes, or
No, there's several different maps, but any mode can come up on any map.
okay?
And there are subtle differences between each mode for every map. So, like, in splat zones, you don't really need to go as deep into the enemy base, and so there's often less ways to get into the enemy base, just so, you don't get camped so hard.
Sheesh.
So those were the two modes that originally came out for Splatoon. In Splatoon 1, they added a third ranked mode, which is Rainmaker, which is my personal favorite. It's kind of like Capture the Flag. You gotta go up and grab the Rainmaker and push it into the enemy base.
Hmm.
So like I said, it's kind of like Capture the Flag, where you have to go into the enemy base, but there's only one flag, there's only one Rainmaker, and each team's trying to grab it first and push it. The Rainmaker is guarded in a shield that you have to blow up in your own ink before you can access the Rainmaker, and so that makes for interesting plays because you can kill your enemy with the explosion of the ink. So you have to make a decision. Do you want to blow up the Rainmaker and access it and maybe blow up your enemy, or do you want to focus on your enemy so he's cleared out of the way before you put your attention on the Rainmaker?
Interesting. And then the fourth mode is just regular turf war.
No, the fourth mode just came out in Splatoon 2, so all those modes were a thing in Splatoon 1. But in Splatoon 2, they just added a fourth mode called Clam Blitz, and it's the most complicated yet. So it's generally you just have to put clams in the basket, collect clams that spawn randomly around the map, and put it in the basket. But the basket has a barrier on it, and you have to break this barrier by assembling a power clam. So if you get 10 clams, you make a power clam. They basically just turn into a football. And you need a football to break the initial barrier around the clam basket. But it takes 10 clams to make a football, but once you have a football, it's worth 20 points.
Okay.
So there's another assessment of risk versus reward. You can risk it and try to, gather more clams for the double points, or you can just put in the clams that you got if the barrier is open.
Are you allowed to play all these modes from the start? Because I feel like I got to like level 7 and I didn't even see any of this other than turf war.
No, unfortunately. They only let you play Turf War until you're level 10, and then
That's
they open ranked mode for you.
I guess that's oh, these are only in ranked.
Yes.
So
Well, and that's one thing that I
that's-
really don't like, is that you have to be playing ranked or league battle to play these modes. There isn't a solo mode non-ranked where you can just practice these modes
Play
casually.
with the big kids.
Yeah, they force you to play it in ranked.
That's very strange. Nintendo always makes very strange choices. They're like online options.
Yeah, I'm not a particular fan of that because I really like playing solo queue, but at the same time, there's days where I don't want to risk my rank, but I still want to practice.
Yeah. So can we talk about like how that game is balanced right now? Because you mentioned it was kind of not, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not. So between Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2, they threw away all the specials. So I guess that's another thing that I left out. When you're inking the ground, you could have this points meter that fills up. And once you've inked enough ground, you get a special available to you. And it just lasts a few seconds, but it has really powerful effects. And the specials in Splatoon 1 all were destroyed. They had no special carried over from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 2, except for maybe the bomb rushes.
Okay.
Dang.
And I feel like that's probably where the balancing issues are the worst. So
I don't know, 'cause
there's,
that sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, it is a lot of fun. So, oh, that was an appeal of Splatoon 1, is that it was
Uh-huh.
all, everything was overpowered and crazy, so it was just madness constantly.
Mhm.
But with Splatoon 2, everything's dialed down a bit, and you can tell that they definitely tried to balance it. It's definitely more balanced than the first, but there are just certain specials that are overpowered. And they've
But
been kind of taking turns being overpowered too, with the patches that have come out.
okay, so there are patches. They are trying to balance still.
Yeah, they're constantly trying, but so my biggest complaint right now is with the Stingray. So
Which
let's back it up a bit. The special that I use is called Ink Jet,
Mhm.
where you basically get a little jetpack and a bazooka, kind of, where you can like take huge one shots at people, and
Dang.
it like paints a huge area of ground. But you still have to kind of like put yourself into the pocket in order to use it effectively, and you can be shot down
that
while
sounds
you're.
like what's her face's ultimate from yeah, Farrah's ultimate.
It actually, a lot of people compare it to that Justice Reigns from Above.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, something like that. Well, the thing that I think is least balanced right now is called the Stingray. It's just a ray that you can shoot, and it's global. Just you shoot it in a direction, it goes all the way through the entire map.
That's the weird looking one that goes through walls.
Yes.
That just like
And
and
Dang.
then if you hold it down for like 3 seconds or something, the radius of the ray just doubles, and maybe even triples. It just gets huge,
Whole.
and it
it
does a
didn't
lot of
seem to be
damage.
doing that much damage though. At least to me when I was playing it. Maybe I just wasn't aiming correctly.
You might not have. And like, so the thing about Splatoon is when you tag somebody in your ink, your whole team can see them on the map. And so
Mhm.
with Stingray, if you tag them just a little bit and bring up your map, you can look at where they're
Uh,
going and
that's yeah.
track people and just get a guaranteed kill every time. And because it's global, people, what they do is they jump back to the spawn point and shoot it from across the map, where
Just
they're at
cover the
zero
most
risk at
ground.
all of getting splat.
Okay.
They don't have to put themselves in the pocket. They don't have to risk anything at all whatsoever. There's zero risk to the Stingray, and that's why I think it's broken.
That seems pretty broken, and it also seems like there's a lot of pretty underpowered stuff too. Like I think that like shield thing. What they start you off with a special that's just like almost
Oh,
not
armor?
invincibility or something.
Yeah, ink armor. Ink armor is actually really meta.
Is it? I just felt like it was nothing. Every time I used it, I felt like I was getting nothing out of it.
It's very underwhelming, especially for beginners, because you just push the button and it makes a cool noise, I guess. It's not like you get thrown on an ink pack and, get to shoot people from the air. It's not nearly as exciting as an ink jet, but it's
Yeah.
actually super useful, especially on like teams that are trying to be competitive.
Inter- Yeah, it just seemed. I'm just.
The
It's
thing,
always fascinating. Like, why did they start the play? Why did they start new players with that?
just because it's super defensive and it's
Guess.
easy. I mean, you can screw yourself over by ink jetting in the wrong spot. You can't really hurt yourself with armor. And armor, it goes to your whole team too, by the way. Your whole
Oh, it
team,
does?
yeah, your whole team gets the armor, global.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Holy
so,
crap.
especially with the ranked modes where there's a lot of like pushing and map control, the
Yeah,
armor is super valuable.
that seems really good for like teams if you have one guy with that.
Yeah, or worse, two guys with that. If you have two people with armor, you basically always have armor.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So that's the specials. What about the weapons? Like, are there some weapons that are just outright awful, and like others that are really good?
So for every class of weapons, they're all pretty good, which I'm actually impressed with. I feel like Nintendo did a good job at balancing those.
Okay.
So there's the regular shooters, which just kind of sound like they are. There's the
Mhm.
blasters, which are kind of weird. They kind of throw out a ball of ink and explode. So you can like hit people around corners if you're tricky with them.
I don't remember those. Do you get those in the single player game? In the campaign?
In the first game, no. In the second game, yes.
I don't remember.
There's
The weapons that jumped out at me were like the dualies and like the sniper rifle thing.
So dualies are also new to Splatoon 2. In those, I personally don't like them, but they are still good. Dualies have the ability, an added ability to like roll and get out of the way, which can be super clutch if you have, an inkjet trying to shoot you down. But what I don't like about it is you can't jump. It's like a trade. Instead of being able to jump and shoot, you roll and shoot. And I just love jumping and shooting.
I mean, you could still jump, right? I feel like you can jump and then start shooting.
Yeah,
right?
you
can't
can
be
jump
shooting
and then
try.
shoot, but you can't jump and shoot because that triggers your roll instead.
Huh. Okay, yeah. Is that really that big of a deal that you have to jump before you shoot?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, for me it is, but, muscle memory. I've played
Yeah.
a lot of not dually. And see, the Charger is basically kind of like a sniper rifle. People want to compare it to the sniper rifle, but it's totally not a sniper rifle. Because you actually have to, like, charge it.
But I mean, come on, it's a sniper rifle.
Okay, it's a sniper rifle. It's a one-shot, and it has huge range. And
It's
then-
cool how they like make it a paint gun too, because it's just like a straight line of paint that you can use to like get somewhere fast, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah, that's
that's
correct.
pretty cool.
And there's brushes and rollers. I kind of like clump those guys together because they're like the melee weapons, basically.
Don't they also one-shot people too?
Yeah, the rollers can, if you're within a
Awesome.
certain range of them.
Yeah, the difference is that the brushes you can run around faster, right?
Yeah,
When
the
you're,
brushes
like,
go much faster, and you have to swing several times. They're not a one shot.
Yeah, you just kind of fucking spam and freak out. It's more of a panic button item.
Yeah, and you definitely have to have high dexterity to play a good brush.
Oh wow.
And it runs out of ink a lot faster, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the weapons are really cool in that game. I just like that they all kind of serve this dual purpose of like damage and also like different types of how you would want to
Inking.
paint the map. Yeah, inking there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really only played the campaign, but
Oh, that's a shame. It's the real fun is in the multiplayer mode.
I loved the campaign though. I really did have a ton of fun with it. Like I think that I was also pretty clever. Like I didn't play that much of the multiplayer, but I get the campaign in its own ways. They're trying to like get this mentality into your head that you need to like paint as much of the ground as you can.
Yes.
Like, the
And-
campaign does a really good job of like training the player to think that way,
Yes, it
which
does.
is really cool.
And also, so something that's really unique to Splatoon is the motion controls.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
yeah, it's all on motion controls, and I highly recommend that you use them. They're just a lot sensitive and I would say they're both sensitive and
Does it
smoother.
like mess up? Oh, does it like mess up your aiming and stuff when you use it?
No, I feel like it's more precise when you use the motion controls.
Oh,
It is.
really? Wow, that means. Wow.
Yeah, Nintendo has perfected their like gyro-assisted aiming.
Dang.
Like I don't ever want to play a console shooter that doesn't have gyro-assisted aiming again.
And I feel like the solo campaign is wonderful for teaching new players how to master the motion controls.
So here's the thing: you've played Zelda too, right?
Yes.
Zelda and Splatoon both use gyro-assisted aiming, but they seem to have very different uses of it, which is strange to me. I just don't understand why. So in Zelda, it seemed like the idea was that you were using the control stick for like the bigger motions, and then the gyro-assisted stuff to like do the fine tuning of like your camera.
That's still true with
You're
Splatoon.
Well, okay, with Splatoon, it seemed more like I was using the control stick to move the camera horizontally, and I was using the gyro to move it vertically. It almost seemed like that's what they wanted me to be doing.
I think that's
is-
just because you're not used to it. So I basically use the stick for movement, steering my character around, and I use
Right.
the motion controls for aiming both up and down and left and right.
I guess the other thing is I did play Zelda on the Wii U, so maybe the controls are a little different on that.
Oh, no, because Splatoon 1 was on the Wii U, and
Right.
is
Still, I think in both games it still worked really well. Like it's a lot of fun.
Oh,
It's kind of easy to get thrown off. Like I feel like I have to be in a specific kind of mental state to like use it correctly, but again, I feel like if I just played it a lot, I'd probably get over that.
Yeah, it definitely has a learning curve to the motion controls. And also, if you're having a hard time with them, I would highly recommend just turning the sensitivity way down on the motion controls and then working your way up.
Yeah, okay, that's a good tip. Do any of the maps in the multiplayer of Splatoon have stuff that the single player has, like the more special stuff, like grind rails? Or
Yes, they
like,
do. And actually, that's one thing that I'm really happy about that they added in between Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2. Splatoon 1 didn't have hardly any of those things, but Splatoon 2 did incorporate the ink rails and the sponges and a few other of the obstacles from this solo campaign.
cool.
And we didn't even go over subs. So you have
What
your
is that?
you have your main weapon, which is like your shooter, basically like a water gun.
Oh,
But then you have a sub weapon, which is mostly bombs. Like they have the splat bomb, which is could be a one shot. The burst
Oh, that's the
bomb.
grenade slide. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize those were called subs.
oh, they're not like other like the same kind of weapons.
So you can it's another risk reward sort of decision you have to make while you're playing the game. Is it uses a large percentage of the ink available in your tank to make a sub, which just pulls it out of the aether and you have a bomb that you can throw, or a curling bomb, which is just a really unique type of bomb that they've made for Splatoon. What other subs are there? Point sensors, where you can track your enemies,
Really?
and oh yeah,
Huh.
there's all sorts of fun subs that really allow you to position your enemies. So my favorite is the Tentatech weapon, which uses a splatter shot as the main and a splat bomb as the sub. So I often use the splat bomb to position people into my gun or vice versa.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
When I was playing the single player, I think my favorite one of those was like the Roomba thing, or like
Yeah, that's the
little
curling
vacuum.
bomb that I was trying
Yeah.
to describe. How would you even call that? Yeah, it's a little Roomba that goes in a straight line until it hits something and then it bounces off.
Yeah,
That's
what I love
cool.
about it is I can just throw it on the ground, like in the direction I want to go, and then just immediately like go into squid form and follow it.
Yeah, that's
It seems like
actually a good call there. That's what a lot of people do to get around the map really fast.
Mhm.
And there's a gear. That's another thing that we didn't even talk about yet, is there's gear sets.
Right.
Clothes that you can wear that give you different abilities. There's one that's
What?
called Ninja Squid. So you can follow your curling bomb and nobody can see you trailing behind it. So you can,
That's dope.
yeah, yeah. And like most of the gear sets are just like obvious things, like, there's kid speed, which makes you go faster when you're in kid form. There's squid speed, makes you go faster in squid form. Ink
Okay.
Okay.
ink saver, ink recovery, just like stats, math stuffs. But some of them are really interesting, like Ninja Squid and there's pretty much all the math stuffs. If there's numbers, there's some sort of gear that can manipulate those numbers, like even your respawn timers and
Oh, that's cool.
how quickly you have your special available to you.
And the
Oh,
gear levels up too, like as you play, right?
Um, yes. So when you buy a gear, it has one main ability that like
oh,
gives you, most of the stats for the gear. But then there's like sub slots within the gear, and you level that up. And if you're really, really into the game, you can make perfect gear where all the little slots are the same as the main slot of the gear, to just give you a huge boost to that particular
sheesh.
stat. No, it's as simple as Splatoon seems. There's really a lot of depth to it. And I say that because I've 700 plus hours in it.
Oh God, really? 700? Damn.
Well, I do stream
That's
it.
hardcore. That's
That's
true.
awesome.
So, what do you think is up with the like map rotation stuff? Like, why do you think they do that?
I don't know. So part of the first game, there was these like squid girls that were the hosts of the game, if you will, and
Uh,
their catchphrase was "Stay fresh." And so, like, I always got the impression that they're just trying to, like, keep it interesting, keep it fresh.
that's
But that
cool.
seems like the opposite to me, because if you're forced to play the same like two maps for a full 2 hours before you can like change to something else,
That's true.
Yeah,
I,
that's very true. I don't know. I can't claim to know why Nintendo makes these decisions.
it just seems that's the thing. Like Nintendo, in all of their like single player experiences, like I can always think about why they did what they did. Even if I don't agree with what they did, I can always understand like what they were going for. But with a lot of their more competitive stuff, namely I guess just Super Smash Brothers and Splatoon, I just can. They always do certain things in these games where I just have absolutely no idea what they were thinking. Like, why did they do this? Like,
Well, they're still pretty new to the whole competitive and online scene. There's that, and I feel like they don't really want to take tips from companies that are already out and successful. They want to do it their own way.
but there still has to be a reason. Like, they're not just doing random things and seeing what works. Like, there's got to be an idea behind these decisions that are just seeming strange to me. Like, I, I don't know. Like, yeah, I've wondered about that map rotation thing forever. I knew they did it in Splatoon 1, and I know that most people didn't like it in Splatoon. Like, there's a lot of outcry about it, right?
Yeah.
But then they brought it back for Splatoon 2, so obviously they're pretty committed to something about this.
I am.
Oh,
I'm not sure
really?
what that is.
Yeah.
So, stranger yet, in Splatoon 2, they added another mode. So there's the single campaign, there's the uh,
Is this the salmon run
multiplayer.
thing?
Yep, yeah, the multiplayer competitive mode, and then there is another cooperative mode that they added in Splatoon 2 called Salmon Run, and it's four people versus AI. And
What?
um,
It's like a horde mode,
yeah,
right?
exactly. It's like was it Killing Floor,
Oh,
but
interesting.
salmon zombies, basically.
And there's different bosses that require you to kill them in different ways.
Yeah.
It seemed pretty cool. I don't know how like big it is.
It's
Like
the
how
so I don't particularly like it because I feel like it's really repetitive. But there's
Uh-huh.
some people who fucking love it. Salmon Run has a huge following, but it's only
That's
available certain times
interesting.
a day.
what?
What?
Yeah, you can't play it whenever the hell you want. It's only available,
What?
and it's completely random. So it's not even like, oh, it's only on Fridays. No, it's just you gotta follow their schedule.
What?
I know.
That's just
Literally why.
absolutely nonsensical. I just what?
That's really weird. Like,
My theory is why that is a thing is just because server. They don't want to pay for the servers to be up all the
No
time.
way. That's not the I can't see it.
Well, it's just that's another thing about this game is that there's huge lag issues. So I think maybe. Um, well, so another thing about the Salmon Run mode is every time it like restarts, you have to start from zero with your bonuses.
they.
And so I guess, having it on at certain times lets, the cycle be pretty obvious. But I feel like you could just do like every other game does, like daily rewards, daily quests.
Well,
Oh,
maybe what they were trying to avoid there by making it random. I still don't know why they would make it like certain times of day at all to begin with. But maybe what they were trying to avoid was like people trying to min-max the hell out of it, like plan to just play it every single day at a certain time to like get as much of a bonus as you can. Like
oh yeah.
But
just
what
so that it would seem more like I don't know, because that would get really repetitive. Like dailies, I've never liked the concept of dailies. Like I don't like to do a
Hmm.
chore,
Oh,
and
that's why I don't like Salmon Run.
maybe they're trying to avoid that feeling of doing a chore because you don't know when it's available. You have to like kind of like jump on it when you see it when you have a chance, instead of just thinking of it as like a thing you do every day. But at the same time, it's like why have it available at every sort just not the entire day? Like why not let players play your game whenever they want to?
Yeah, that's my biggest issue with it. Is like, did I
Yeah.
did I buy that section of the game or not? What if you
Yeah.
what if you have a work schedule to adhere to and your favorite mode's just not on for 3 days in a row at the time you're available to play it?
And furthermore, like Nintendo tries to make their games pretty timeless, right? They never drop the price of their games ever. Like
Yeah.
Like Splatoon 1 is probably still $60
Yes.
at a game, right? Uh, If I logged into Splatoon 1, would this kind of stuff still be going on? Like, when Splatoon 3 comes out, will like Salmon Run still be like the thing it is, or like what?
So Salmon
just-
1 run was not a thing in Splatoon 1.
Right. But like the rotations, the map rotations, or like these. We never even talked about like this versus this, like what do you call it?
Oh,
Splatfest things.
Splatfests!
Yeah.
So Splatfests are over for the Wii U version of Splatoon. And
Okay.
there are Splatfests scheduled for like 2 years for Splatoon 2.
We should tell Joey about what Splatfest.
So
are.
Splatfest is probably one of my favorite parts about Splatoon. So
It is.
Well, yeah, what is that?
about once a month or so, they have a Splatfest where they come up with a theme, and everybody has to pick a side depending on the theme. Like the very first one for Splatoon 2 was ketchup versus mustard. Which do you like better?
Yeah.
Or no, not mustard. It was ketchup versus mayo, because mayo is way popular in Japan. It's a Japanese game. So I was on Team Mayo. So you pick a team. You can't play with the other team. You only play with other mayo lovers, and you have to splat the ketchup.
Awesome.
And you get special gear too, like to represent.
Yeah. Everybody has to wear their Splatfest tee. Like I
That's
talked about
pretty
earlier, you have gear sets. Everyone has to use the shirt slot for their Splatfest tee.
And what's cool is that you have the you have that little hangout area, like the lobby area, where you have random people. I guess just kind of Street Pass linked with you, that or whatever the equivalent of Street Pass is on the Switch. Talking 3DS terminology, but like they have those drawings where people are just making little comics, like just to advertise their own like what side they're on.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Oh yeah, it's definitely fun, especially if you are involved in any like Splatoon threads. Oh, they get super salty at Splatfest because everyone chooses a side.
So some of the others, the one I noticed when I was playing the game, I think it was what Christmas present, what shitty Christmas present would you rather get, like socks or like
An ugly
like,
sweater or ugly socks.
Yeah. What team was I on? I think I was on Team Socks.
I was on Team Socks. And we lost. Wah, wah, wah.
How dare they?
And it seemed like there was a point during Splatfest where like the lobby area changed and there was like a concert going on. Like, what's up with that?
Oh yeah, so
What?
the lobby area, that's called Inkopolis Square.
Right.
Inkopolis Square, usually when you load into the game, you load into Inkopolis Square, and it's like daytime, and it's just, birds chirping, really, really soft music. But during these Splatfests, it's nighttime, and they have, a concert going on. The hosts, as I talked about earlier, the hosts of the game are musicians.
Whatever you call it.
Yeah, and they're, like, performing on stage.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's really a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love the whole pop music aesthetic that game has going on.
Oh,
Like,
I
pop-
love the
pop-
music to Splatoon. That's another thing is, okay, so Splatoon takes place in the post-apocalyptic world. Oh God, I stuttered that.
Bullshit. No,
It does.
what?
It does. All the humans
What?
are dead, and squids have risen from the sea and taken over the lands.
Oh my.
What?
Yeah,
Where is this confirmed? Like
in
where
the solo player mode.
What?
There's in like Mario, there's like stars or whatever that you can find throughout the levels. In Splatoon,
Yes.
there's little secrets called sunken sea scrolls, and when you collect these sunken sea scrolls,
Oh, I never really paid attention to those.
they give you little packets of lore when you find them.
Yeah, I thought about like looking through, like trying to collect all of them and then reading them in order, but I kept finding them out of order because I was never,
You don't.
I would find them at some levels and not in others, and then I just wouldn't read them. 'cause I
They're
wouldn't
pretty
know.
much completely episodic. There isn't really an order to them. And
Oh, maybe I was just too lazy to read. I don't know. But so it really is Okay.
right? Yeah, post-apocalyptic. Yeah. All humans are dead. I was going somewhere with that. Oh yeah, and so like these squid people are like, carrying on society. and they have their own like music and culture. And I really like the music in the game. It's like a Squid EDM or something.
Yeah, and they've got their own like
What?
language that you don't even realize is a language until they start singing in the language.
Yeah,
Like you
exactly.
think it's just like Banjo Kazooie kind of mumbling, but then you realize that like there's like produced music tracks
Hmm.
where it's implied that that is their voice, that is like actually like language.
Yeah, and I personally really enjoyed the music from the first game. I like the music from the first game better than the second game, but they're both really good.
Yeah, I feel like I might agree with you. I haven't played a whole lot of the first game, but like that lobby music, seriously. But
That's awesome.
like they're so close to each other in terms of quality if one is better than the other. But yeah, I feel like Splatoon as a whole, like as far as like aesthetics and what it is, it's just like a really welcome new Nintendo franchise. It's definitely like in the upper echelon of like Nintendo series at this point already, even though there's only 2 games that are almost the same game.
It basically is the same game, just better balanced, but it still has some issues like the ones I talked about earlier.
Right. Do you think that they'll eventually nail down the balancing, or do you think it'll just be like a
Yes, I do. I do hope. Am hopeful that the balancing issues will be fixed in time. My biggest concern, however, is server issues. There is such bad
It's,
lag.
dang,
Okay,
it's that bad?
it's no okay. It's what I've heard is that it's peer to peer. Well, I know it's peer to peer, but it's the servers are running at 16 hertz, 1.6.
Sheesh.
To give you some perspective, like most MOBAs, like League, run at 32 hertz. That's
huh?
twice as fast dedicated servers for a MOBA. When Splatoon's a third-person shooter, you just need that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you need
Definitely. Every shooting game, you really need that. Or it
exactly.
ruins everything.
It,
I think that I never hear anyone complain about this, and I think I know why. It's because whatever they did, however they decided to code this, it seems like they did a really good job of hiding lag. Like
they
it's hard to tell when lag is what killed you in the game.
they did, and but as you get better at the game, you start noticing it more and more. But when the game first came out, Ego Raptor was the first one who really pointed it out. Was like, this game is so much fun, but the lag is unplayable.
Huh.
And like he had a big campaign saying that like he wants better support for this game, but nobody cared because nobody else could see it. But
At the
yeah,
same time,
as
though,
you get better at it,
you said you were playing with people from Japan, though, right?
yeah,
So like, how does that not make the problem exponentially worse that you're doing that? Like, or is that it, or is that part of the problem that you're describing right now?
I
They aren't
believe that's
hearing
part of the problem. So they allegedly fixed that between Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2. Splatoon 1 was worldwide matchmaking, where they really try to make it more regional in Splatoon 2. But they prioritized getting fast matches first. So, you'll try to find somebody within
Oh,
your area and your skill, and then, expands outwards until they get 8 people together.
But they don't waste a whole lot of time. They won't wait too long before they pair you with someone in like South America, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I think Dota does the same thing, but they try really hard to pair you with someone nearby first.
Yeah.
They take their time.
Yeah, the queues for Splatoon are like 2 minutes, but the games are 3 to 5 minutes. So
Yeah, so you can't. I understand why
dang.
they did that at least. You can't waste too much time when the games are so short. I was actually going to ask about that. I'm glad you brought that up. Do you think the games are too short?
no,
No?
I love the length of the games. There really is a good length because there's always overtime. If you really need to make that last push, there's overtime. It like technically could go indefinitely, but well, actually, I don't think that's true. Um,
wow.
like I said, there's in the ranked modes, there's always a chance for knockout. So I feel like for really good players, they can get the knockout before the 5 minutes is even up.
Really? So you can actually end the game way faster than it's intended to be?
Yes. Well, it knockout's still an intended ending.
Oh, is it? Oh,
So and it also depends on the mode. So like for splat zones, it's on a timer. You have to control the zone for a certain amount of time. So
mm,
the game can only be so fast. But for Rainmaker, it's just as fast as you can swim, and there's also gear that makes you swim even faster. So Rainmaker games can be super fast. I actually posted one on Twitter that was 36 seconds long.
Dang.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
That's insane.
So, but it's also just like a really twitchy, fast-paced game, so I don't think it really needs to be too much longer.
That's true. I feel like if the games maybe did go too much longer, it would be pretty tiring.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one thing. Like, I don't think I could. That's the reason. That's one of the main reasons I guess I don't play a whole lot of Splatoon is because I felt pretty tired after like playing just a few games, or at least not tired, but fatigued. Just kind of like.
Oh yeah, it's both physically and mentally exhausting because there's so much going on, and you can see everybody even when they're swimming around inside their own ink. There's still a little visual effect, and so you're constantly scanning the map, looking for these little tiny clues of where your enemy's at. So it can be really mentally exhausting, and Splatoon has a reputation of being hard on the hands because of the motion controls.
It's a lot better on the Switch probably. Though.
Oh yeah, it's days better on the Switch than the Wii U because the Wii U tablet was so heavy and cumbersome.
Right. That is a big improvement. That's an interesting thing about the Switch. I've heard a lot of complaining about that. This might be kind of transitioning away from Splatoon a little bit, but
that's fine. I think we're about ready.
Okay. This is the issue with Odyssey too. Like Splatoon is a game that you cannot really play correctly on handheld in handheld mode.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
Yes, especially because if you're using the motion controls, as you move your controller, your screen moves.
I feel like it's almost dangerous. Like, what if you accidentally throw your Switch somewhere? Like, you're like swinging it around to like aim.
Oh yeah, it is. Like, so I have little baby cousins that were playing my Switch when we were visiting for Christmas time. I'm like, oh, you need to sit down, dear, because he was just kind of, using the motion controls in handheld mode because, the adults were using the TV. So, yes, it's very dangerous, especially for the little ones.
Yeah, and so Mario Odyssey has a similar thing, right? Where you kind of are expected to play that game in TV, well, not necessarily in TV mode, but who the fuck is going to use the kickstand? Like, you're supposed to play with the two Joy-Cons individually. Right, that is the intended way to play this game. They even tell you in like the opening screen.
Yeah.
And if you don't play it that way, then you can't do certain moves. You can't throw your hat up or like directly down, because like I've tried it. I tried to do those moves like in handheld mode. You literally can't. You can only throw it. I think.
You
Am I
can.
wrong about that?
You can throw it down.
Really?
Yeah, you can. I did figure it out, but it's totally not intuitive at all. I agree that it's definitely meant to be used in detached Joy-Cons mode.
And all of the like critics I see talking about Odyssey describe that as a big issue game. And I'm just curious, like, do you see that as an issue? Because I don't. I kind of see that as like that's the intended way to play it. Like some games are maybe made for the handheld mode and some games aren't, and you're gonna have
I don't see that's an issue. In fact, I don't like using the detached Joy-Cons. They're like too small for my retarded hands. So I just use the Pro Controller the entire time.
Even with Odyssey?
Even with Odyssey.
Huh. Honestly, if I didn't, like I said, I was playing it on my friend's Switch, and he brought it to my apartment, and I'm pretty sure the only reason I played the Joy-Con version of the game is because he forgot to bring the controller attachment.
Nice.
So I was forced to. But I'm glad he did, because I love being able to like throw your hat down like that. That leads to some really fluid kind of like platforming that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. But I don't know. It's just, what were you gonna say, Joey?
Go on, you got it.
I don't know what I was gonna say. I just find it kind of invalid. Like I hear a lot of criticism of like Mario specifically for having those moves kind of gated behind that control scheme. But why is that criticism?
I don't know. And like honestly, you don't need that like at all whatsoever. I didn't even know that you could throw your hat down until you told me about it, and I was I'd already beaten the game.
Yeah, that's what's cool about Odyssey is the controls are they have so much depth to them that you're continually just learning things about them through the whole game.
Oh, absolutely. I loved Odyssey. Oh, such a good game.
I did too. I mean, obviously, it's not a perfect game, but like some of the things in it, especially Bowser's Kingdom, like Bowser's Kingdom made that whole game just the prettiest fucking Mario level I've ever seen before.
And it was all right.
What?
It was just all right.
Oh, come on.
I think
I,
my
I,
favorite kingdom was the first one, the Desert Kingdom. First of all, I'm from Arizona, so like I don't know, I really loved the Sugar Skull people and just
yeah, the
all
Desert
the.
Kingdom is probably my second favorite. I'll give you that.
It
Desert
was
Kingdom
like
was
my
really cool.
home made into a Mario game, and that's probably why I loved it so much.
I love how cold it is when you first get there and like nighttime. Like there's like a big transition. There's like kind of a narrative to that kingdom that isn't so much in the other ones, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that like the boss of that level, like you see like what do you call it, a multi-moon just like inside of this like glass pyramid thing sticking out of the desert, and you can't get to it, and Cappy's like, you can't get to this right now. And then later on it falls through the ground as the boss. Like I don't know, I just that's a nice little touch. I can appreciate things like that. You do know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
the desert.
That's. I'm not sure if I like that in particular. Like, it just kind of seemed like, one of those areas you hadn't unlocked yet, so you just kind of rub your face up against it. But it definitely had nicer progress than the other worlds.
Hmm.
You felt like you were helping those little sugar skull guys.
Those guys are pretty cool.
They were so cute. Actually, all the indigenous people of the zones were super cute in
Yeah, they
Odyssey.
are. Even the fucking humans who didn't even who
The
had their own
what?
weird ass language that were like this alien species, but also just humans.
Yeah.
As a... Did you go through the whole process of like following around that taxi cab driving guy with the one human?
Well,
Wait, what?
not really. I think I lost track of him in New Donk City.
Joey, there's a taxi driver. There's a taxi driving like what do you call it? The Desert Kingdom people? The mariachi guys? I don't know.
They're sugar skull people, but what is that
Sugar
kingdom
Skull people.
called?
Isn't it just Desert Kingdom? I remember the names being kind of boring.
Oh. Yeah, so the Desert Kingdom. Oh, Sand Kingdom.
Sand Kingdom, yeah, so much more creative than Desert Kingdom. Glad we cleared that up. Yeah, there's a guy with a taxi there, and a human, and the taxi's broken down until you beat the game, and then if you go back
What?
there, and I think they fix it automatically. Maybe you have to do something. I don't know. And you can just go to like they'll tell you where they're going, and then you can go to that kingdom and see them there, and you can follow them around, and just like watch this
Oh.
human tourist like take a capsy to every single kingdom.
That's
And
dope.
sometimes things happen, like you can like spot them in the air, like, and I don't know. It just the little. I don't know why I'm bringing that up specifically, but I thought it was cute. I thought it was a nice touch. I like the whole tourism vibe to that game.
Yeah, it
That's
definitely
cool.
had a tourism vibe with the stickers that you collect for the Odyssey, and
Yeah, and the brochures for every level that were like the maps.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
awesome.
Hmm. I just wish the levels themselves were a little more creative, like Sand Kingdom, Ice Kingdom. I feel like that is one valid criticism that I've been hearing about the game is that, aside from the kingdom where everything's food, which has been done in a Mario game before anyway, and the Bowser's Kingdom, which was just a huge surprise because it was called Bowser's Kingdom, but then it turned out to be this like eastern, like beautiful fucking thing. And the Moon Kingdom, I guess that has Mario. Like it was all kind of standard fare for a platformer. Like in terms of,
Oh.
you had your ice level, you had your, water level.
Hmm.
I was
And
fine
I
with
guess-
that though. I mean, like, that's what you come to expect from a Mario game.
That's not what I feel like you're misremembering because the levels in the 3D Mario games have always been pretty creative. I guess it's hard to look at Galaxy as like an example of that because the Galaxy levels are just so abstractly weird to begin with. But if you look back at the levels to 64, like even the water levels had like an interesting idea to them. Like I think the first water level in that game, you like drain it or something, or like it's almost like you go back there and the water levels are changing or something.
What?
Yeah, there's a lot more to it as an idea than just it's a water level.
I think I remember the opposite. Like, it starts out dry, and then you flood it, and then you have to go through it
Wet Dry
again.
World. It's called Wet Dry World, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like they could have done a little bit. They could have gotten a little more creative with some of the kingdom. But it doesn't matter. It's still such a great game.
It really is.
Like, what I love about it is that it's an easy game to show to people. Like, this is why Mario is good. If I want to show people why Mario is worth playing, like, Odyssey is a perfect game.
Yeah, it's really easy to pick up, but at the same time, you are rewarded for being creative, and the control system is pretty in-depth.
Yeah, I think he has like 10 jumps total, like 10 different ways to leave the ground. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like we've been leaving Joey out of this conversation too much.
No, you're good.
I feel like we should talk about something that Joey can get involved in.
Okay, so... Well, Joey, did you have any questions on the Switch stuff that we mentioned?
Uh-oh. I think my mic just died.
No, we can hear you.
Like, I don't know. I don't own one, so I have no idea, like,
You're just...
how anything works.
Okay, my mic's awake again. I don't know what you were saying there.
Nah, dude, it's all good. Like, I don't know. Everything's...
Hold on.
It's, like, entirely different from everything I've, like...
Well, you've played
like,
Mario
played
games before, yeah?
Yeah, but, like, the entire console is just, like... I feel like it's really different compared to the other ones.
All right, I'm back.
Like, you're given a controller and all you just play.
Yeah, that's actually something I super appreciate about the Nintendo Switch, is that the Joy-Cons are detachable, so you can play two-player games as soon as you open the Switch. And, as someone who grew up with a sister, that would have been so nice.
Although I have to ask, what games actually use that right now?
Mario Kart, Snipper Clips.
You can play Mario Kart 8, or the newest one, like with just a little Joy-Con, like a single one of them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's fucking cool. I didn't know that. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, you got shoulder buttons.
Yeah, all you need is like gas and shoulder, and you're good to go. There's a reverse button, but nobody uses that shit.
Wait, there's a reverse button? I thought that was just the brakes that you just hold down.
Oh, yeah, I guess... No, wait. Yeah,
You've got gas, you've got like the jump / like drift.
So I guess I have always associated the drift as brakes, because
You've got a use item button, and that's it.
Yeah,
I think 3 buttons total to play like Mario.
And then there's the steer. So yeah, you can totally use the detached Joy-Cons for 2 people to play Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, like you can just use the entire like Joy-Con as like a wheel, can't you?
Oh yeah, that too. Well, so that's only for the right one is also gyro.
Wait, what? Only the right one is gyro?
Wait, no, that's not true at all, because arms. Never mind, I lied. Well,
That'd
so
be weird.
the thing with like Splatoon, when you use detached Joy-Cons, only the right one matters. So that's why I thought that.
I'm looking at my Switch right now, and I think what the right one has that the left one doesn't is the optical camera. I think the right one is the only one that has like that infrared sensor on it.
Oh, okay.
So like, I'm pretty sure like that piano in the like Labo commercial. Pretty sure that uses this infrared sensor to like detect when the keys are pressed.
Oh.
Yeah, these little Joy-Cons are like really surprisingly intricate pieces of technology.
I'm using
They
tilt
look like
controls.
nothing, but
I'm using tilt
I'm
controls.
using tilt controls.
I'm using tilt controls.
Such great spam.
So yes, Joey, you can use tilt controls with just a single Joy-Con.
No way.
Joey, what have you been doing lately?
No.
Yeah, no, we're going there. We're gonna get Joey talking.
No.
No.
He's our guest after all.
Uh,
He's our special guest appearance.
out here getting this paper.
Getting paper. Speaking of paper, one last thing I wanted to mention, Labo.
Oh yeah, Labo. I guess that's paper.
You said that you were excited about Labo. I'm kind of underwhelmed.
I mean,
What's-
when I say I'm excited about Labo, that doesn't mean I'm going to buy it when it first comes out.
Oh, I see.
Let's be clear about that. Like, I don't know how willing I am to buy cardboard, but the thing is, I've been hearing a lot of conflicting things about it. Like, somebody told me that Nintendo will send you like replacement cardboard for free, and then someone else said that they have some service where you can print more cardboard if it breaks, or I don't know. Like,
I'm
it's
sorry.
just-
What is Labo?
have you not seen the trailer, Joey?
No.
Okay, I don't know how I can explain it any better or quicker than just watching that trailer. So go to
I'll
YouTube
check
right
that
now
out.
and like look at like I think it's called First Look at Labo.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean I'm like the thing about searching Labo is unfortunately YouTube is trash at this point, and like you're just gonna get a whole bunch of fucking reaction videos if you just search Labo.
Sheesh.
So I think you should YouTube like First Look at Labo and then like click the one that's Nintendo's.
Yeah, okay, I'll check that out.
I mean, I guess it's great if you have like little kids and you want to like
Yeah,
build
that's
shit
the
with
thing.
them.
I'm more excited about it as like potential like kids playing with it, because if I was 10 years old, Labo would be literally the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I can definitely see that. But as a
And
grown ass woman, I'm like, cardboard, really?
Even as a grown ass man, like there is still a satisfaction to like getting a new Lego set and like putting it together for the first time. Like it's still fun to do that. Like I would never go out and buy like an expensive ass Lego model just to put it together, but it would be fun if someone handed it to me. I would want to do it. And the Labo stuff seems, if you look at that trailer closely, especially at the end when they're starting to like show you how everything works and like the insides of it,
Yeah.
like that shit's pretty complicated.
It looks interesting.
And I think the reason that they can get away with that complication is because the instructions for putting it together are on the Switch itself. They're interactive, like so they can trust that the kids will be able to like figure it out because they're just doing exactly what they're shown on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're also like shown almost educational shit, like how this is actually working, like how this infrared sensor is detecting your keystrokes, or how, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about. It's great for kids. Even like, I don't know, the levers and pulleys and
It's great for kids on so many different levels. Like, I wonder like that name Labo. I wonder if that is like supposed to be a shout out to Lego, because it seems like almost
Yeah.
a legitimate Lego competitor to some extent, like in its
Perhaps.
own weird ass way.
So overall, you're glad that it exists, but perhaps not for
Yeah.
you.
I think maybe I would feel a slight tinge of embarrassment like owning it and being excited about it myself, but I'm excited that they like that. It's just the most Nintendo fucking thing that Nintendo has ever done. It just
I can
seriously
see that.
feels that way. Like it seems like Nintendo is trying to appeal to like a more hardcore audience and just trying to like do a lot more of what like people are demanding them to do than usual lately. So it's kind of comforting almost to see them like pull something like this, like amidst all of that, just to kind of like remind the world that yeah, we're still Nintendo. We're still just gonna do our own fucking thing and not give a shit what anyone thinks about it.
That's
Righteous.
awesome.
So I think we should move on to the next topic for today.
How far in are we? How many minutes are we?
I want to say we're about 30 minutes in.
Oh, that's not that far.
Or, I mean, double that. We started...
Over an hour. Okay.
Yeah, 1 hour in.
All right, so we had two more possible topics to talk about. Joey, what would you rather talk about? Would you rather talk about Dota versus League of Legends, or would you rather talk about Devilman?
What was the other one?
Which one?
Devilman.
Devilman.
Oh,
Talk about Devilman.
snap.
Let's talk about sex and violence happening at the same time.
All right. So, guys, Warning, warning, spoiler alert. We will talk about things that happen in
I
Devilman.
think
Although,
all three of us have finished the show completely, right?
yes, we have all finished the series.
Yeah.
And so if you are interested in watching Devilman, the newest anime from Netflix, we're going to talk about it now. But if you don't want any spoilers, I hope you have a good night, and we'll see you next week. All right, guys, Devilman time.
Devilman time.
So,
Devilman.
I believe that anime is on like a sliding scale between like Sailor Moon and hentai.
What the fuck is that? What?
I completely agree, Shell.
Elaborate, please.
Well, so like Sailor Moon, I watched Sailor Moon when I was a little girl. It was just super innocent, you know, teenage girls being girls. Like
Okay.
nothing, well, like obviously there's something sexual about it because, you know, everything, like literally everything can be. But, you know, mostly pretty innocent. Just like cartoons for kids, what like most Westerners would think of. And then it's a sliding scale all the way to just straight up porn. And I kind of like, especially after the first episode, I was thinking that like Devilman was more on the porn side. I was like, what the fuck did Text recommend for me? What the hell am I watching right now and why?
That nightclub scene?
Yes, that nightclub
Pretty good.
scene.
What I love about that show, what I love about the nightclub scene is that the entire show, when you first see it, looks pretty ugly. But it's the same thing. It's the same guy that made a show called Ping Pong, which is absolutely atrocious looking as a show. But they made it atrocious looking so that they could like focus on the animation itself. And the nightclub scene, like I don't know, that little segment where like the girl that's there that like gives out the drugs when they first enter it, like the way she like forces the pill down Akira's throat, like that was sexy as hell. Like the way that they animated that, the way that they like made that happen. It was just like, I don't know, like that I just felt like that was really like well done. Like not tasteful. Like I'm not gonna call that scene tasteful. I don't think I can like pitch that, but I just thought it was like, I don't know, that it just all worked really well. The way I got what they were going for, and I thought they did it really well. Like,
Well, yeah, I agree. And even though it was ugly, as you said, I felt like it was supposed to be ugly. Like, they say that, like, you know, rock and roll is the devil's work, but I kind of felt like after just the first episode, I was thinking that they're going to say the same thing about EDM, like clubbing and living that lifestyle is just straight up evil, sinful. And I think they were kind of going for that, too.
were they? I never caught on to that really, because I thought that there was something satanic implied about that dance club thing to begin with. Wasn't it called like the Sabbath?
Yep.
I think that there was like some supposed like Satanism implicit there to begin with.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But,
saying.
like,
It's like they're
but they were
actually in
only, like-
hell. Well, not
Oh.
like not literally in hell, but they're, you know, yeah, they're Satanists. They're being
Yeah.
And so like
Yeah.
you know, you're not hell isn't a pretty place. That's what I'm getting at.
I mean, it was for about 5 minutes until some guy fucking lost and started stabbing everybody.
That was awesome.
That guy was so fucking crazy.
That was my
I love the
favorite
scene
part.
where he shows up in the first episode, and like it's the scene with the rappers like on the dock.
Yeah.
He just like pulls up and then runs up and then like sticks his hand out, and they have that like awkward moment where like nobody is saying anything, and his hand is just out, and I'm just saying to myself in my head like, this guy's not crazy at all. There's nothing dangerous or strange about this guy.
Then he pulls out a gun and starts.
And then he
shooting
pulls out a
around.
machine gun. I'm like, this guy's completely reasonable.
That was so awesome.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of complaints about him in the sense that, like, how is Akira continuing to follow this guy around despite the fact that in the first episode he literally watches him kill a whole bunch of people or, like, stab a whole bunch of people. That part I could excuse just because he was on drugs, so he probably wasn't remembering things super correctly
Yeah.
the next day.
Uh,
But there was a lot of scenes after that where it's like, Akira, you just watched him kill again. What are you doing?
yeah.
Well, like in the very first episode, you see that you know this guy. They've known each other since they were boys,
Uh huh.
and you see, you know, he's returning to Akira, what's his name?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Akira.
you can see that he trusts him, and it's kind of like it slowly takes more and more and more of bullshit before he actually says, okay, I've actually had enough.
He never really does say he has had enough. Like, that never quite happens. Like, Rio disappears before they reach that point. I mean, once they see each other again, like, after, like, everything has already gone to hell.
In the
It seems
jungle.
like... Yeah, the jungle part, like...
That
yeah.
part was crazy.
Are you talking about the flashback to the jungle, or him going back to the jungle?
Him going back to the jungle and assuming his true form.
Yeah. I'm not even sure quite how to talk about the stuff that happens in those last 4 episodes.
Uh-huh.
It was just this fucking weird haze. Like, I was pretty high the whole time I was watching it, but like those last 4 episodes,
Uh-huh.
it just kind of felt like I was on the drugs that the people were on in that EDM scene in the first episode. That's how I felt.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Really?
Because everything just went to shit so fast and
That's
like
true.
almost like and so chaotically and so fucking, I don't know. It was cool. Someone else talk about this so I can hear their take on it.
So I really, really liked episode 6 through 9. So episode 6 is where they, like, reveal the monsters, right?
Uh-huh.
To the world, yeah.
To the world. The whole world finds out that there's demons walking among us. And there's these people that we all thought were normal-ass people all of our lives. And turns out they're secretly demons.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
Really? Because I kind of thought, like, the exact opposite. I kind of like the beginning of it where, like, for example, like, the first episode, like, he experiences all that crazy stuff, but, like, once he transforms into the Devilman, like, his whole entire, like, life kind of changes, like, how he acts and, like, how he reacts to everything. Like, he's just... he's just so different from what he used to be, and like everyone just takes it like entirely different. Like,
I don't understand how anyone thought he was even the same.
yeah, right?
Fucking visibly different.
Yeah, he does
Right?
look so different. He looks different, acts different.
Like, honestly, that show, like, on a sheer logical level, doesn't make a whole lot of sense in a lot of different ways. It didn't really need to, though. I felt
Uh-huh.
like it was more about the tone and sensation of watching it itself. Like, I don't know. I was willing to excuse a lot more of, like, the plot holes and, like, logic things don't make sense.
Uh-huh.
I would be
Oh,
just
that makes
because
sense.
the atmosphere was so well executed. Like, the fucking soundtrack.
The music was awfully good. Oh my gosh. The music was so good.
What I
just
love
had a
about the
blast
music
watching it.
is how it's like this weird combination of like modern like evil synthwave shit, but also has a lot of like the old kind of it has a very old anime feel to it also. It feels like this kind of attempt to
Right?
like unify old and new.
Yeah.
I can
in a way
definitely
that-
see that.
Yeah, and I could really appreciate that.
And that actually is like just the music I tend to like is kind of a mix between old and new of, EDM versus integrated with traditional instruments.
hmm And from what I can understand, from what I hear, like, Devilman is kind of like the original edgy anime. Like, without Devilman, you wouldn't have any of the other edgy anime, like Evangelion or anything like that. And
Yeah.
it seemed like this reimagining of Devilman through the soundtrack and just everything else, it just felt like this kind of strange, timeless edginess.
Oh
that I
yeah,
hadn't
definitely agree
seen
with the timeless edginess.
Like, which doesn't even sound, it sounds almost paradoxical to say timeless edgy. But I got that feeling from it. I was like, this will always be edgy. I could come back in 50 years.
Yeah, agreed. Well, like you're dealing with the fallen angel. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah, Satan.
Yeah.
I forgot Satan was an angel. Oh yeah, spoilers. He's Satan. Not the devil man, the other guy.
The man who turns him into the Devilman
Yeah.
is actually Satan.
Did he know he was Satan from the beginning?
No, Satan didn't even know he
No.
was Satan.
Okay. Did he like purposefully forget he was Satan? Or...
No, he was just reincarnated and like,
And just completely forgot.
yeah, like
what
Ganon shit.
Huh.
You know, he remanifests in a new form. And then he's like, why? Why did I actually destroy everything? And he's like, oh wait, because I'm the fucking devil, that's why.
I spent that whole show trying to figure out his motivation. Like, and I realized at like the 6th or 7th episode, I kind of accepted. I think I even said it out loud with the people I was watching. I was like, okay, I get it. There is nothing to get. This guy is just insane. He just wants
the
to
worst guy.
He just wants to see everything fucking destroy itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I was right, but I wasn't entirely satisfied with being right. I don't know. Because he isn't complete. Like at the end of the show, like he does have feelings. And like he is a real.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I feel like that was the whole point. The whole moral of the story is like love so hard and care so deeply that even the devil is moved. Even the devil.
Is Satan the devil? I don't
Yeah.
know religion very well. Like I kind of started to wonder about that because is Satan an angel? Is he like a fallen? Like what's the story behind Satan?
So Satan is a fallen angel.
Yeah, so Lucifer was an angel, and he was like, yo, God, you shouldn't be so fucking crazy and vain and kill all the humans that you created because you fucked them up. And God's like, how dare you talk back to me, and casts them away from heaven. And so Lucifer was just like out doing his own shit for a while. And then God decided to make humans, and
they had a big war.
Well, and then so Lucifer's just trying to like tell humans how terrible God actually is, and basically cast him down even further to hell. So he was just a fallen angel, but then by becoming like the overlord of hell, he is the devil.
I never knew any of that. How did I not ever know any of that?
Don't you know like Adam and Eve and the devil tempted Eve, like he talked her into eating the apple?
I thought it was a snake.
Yeah, he turned into the snake.
Yeah,
That was Satan?
That was Satan.
The whole time?
It was Satan the whole time.
Was Satan the entire time?
Oh my god. This changes everything. I'm Christian now. I'm getting that Bible. I'm gonna read that shit again.
Yeah, dude.
That was just too deep for me, I guess. I wasn't able to speak.
So yeah,
It's
so
okay.
every time anybody's trying to like convince humans that God's actually terrible, it's Lucifer, aka Satan, aka the devil, aka.
Exactly.
I mean, did God ever do anything that wasn't evil in that entire show? Like, didn't he just completely destroy Earth at the end after watching all of humanity die without helping at all? Or did I misinterpret that?
I have no idea.
What actually happened at the end of that show?
So
I have no idea.
I kind of thought that was just the world ending in a nuclear holocaust.
There was a nuclear explosion at some point, but those were not all nuclear explosions. Like there were like purple and like or like dark. It was like black and white stuff exploding everywhere. It was like okay. So let's back up. I think around like episode 7 or 8. This was like I think the point where supposedly Rio just like realized or remembered that he was Satan. There was a nuclear bomb that I think was being dropped. And then suddenly it didn't drop. Instead, you saw the world like kind of somewhat engulfed in this like white light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That also it seemed like almost an explosion anyway, but it wasn't the nuclear explosion. It seemed like it almost stopped the nuclear explosion. That was the point where I kind of just completely stopped having any fucking clue what was happening.
So okay, how I interpreted that was that everybody's on edge, and they were like about to throw the nukes at each other, but then the demons themselves launched the first attack, which it looked like a nuke at first, but it was a demonic attack that demon
But it was a white
magic.
light.
So,
Okay, so that's another thing I was wondering. I was questioning this the whole time. Were the demons' attacks the white attacks, or were they the dark attacks?
I think they were the
Dark attacks.
white attacks.
Were they?
Because, like, you see Satan, he's, like, white. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and
Yeah, that's why I was wondering.
his magic, you can see, like, his shields are always, like, white light. So I kind of assumed that the white lights were the demonic attacks. And then the dark attacks were from the Devilman.
I just wasn't sure.
Dang, I have no idea.
Because Satan is still divine. He's an angel, after all.
Right.
Dang, I have no idea. Huh.
But here's the question I've really been wanting to ask you guys.
Okay.
Subbed or dubbed?
Oh, subbed. Obviously subbed.
Yep.
I'm
I
super
agree
glad
with
that
Tex on this one.
Netflix defaulted to the subs too. Usually they don't do that. Usually Netflix tries to default to dubbed.
So it was weird. I watched the first episode and it was subbed. And then I watched the second episode and I accidentally was on a different account and it went to dubs.
By default?
Yeah, by default.
Huh.
And so I had to switch it back to subs.
That's weird.
I
I've
strongly
heard that the rapping isn't nearly as good dubbed as it's subbed. Like they didn't actually try to like make new raps. They just tried to translate the old ones.
Oh,
Which
Oh.
gross.
yeah,
Yikes.
that's really nonsensical. It's kind of strange to me that that Netflix didn't step in though to try to like improve the English from Rio. When he was talking. Like those parts, I wish didn't exist. I wish they just kept talking in Japanese. I don't know. Like
Well, so the whole point was that he's trying to like talk to the whole world about
right.
the Devilman, expose the Devilman to the whole world. And really
get
that just
that.
means like America. How can he tell the whole world in Japanese when the majority of the world speaks English?
I'm just saying, like they probably should have gotten a person that could actually.
See, I was
Definitely.
fine with that because it just to me was like, a Japanese person trying to speak English. And
I did read a lot about not a lot, a little bit about the casting, and apparently that guy that voiced Rio, the Japanese guy, has been casted before in roles where he was kind of both genders at once, like male and female. Like they casted him mostly because his voice could kind of project in both genders to some extent. Because I mean, when you see Satan in the show, like he does have like boobs and a penis. Like he's both sexes at once. I don't know if you noticed.
I didn't notice
He's
that.
the only dick you see in the entire show, I think.
How did I not notice that?
And if you go back and watch the first episode, it's clearly from context, just knowing what happens and what's going on. It's clearly Satan talking, narrating the first bit of the show, but it's also distinctly a woman's voice, and I'm pretty sure it's still the same voice actor.
Huh.
And also, I know that the guy who voice acted Rio is also, I think from descendants. Like I think his parents. I think he has one parent that's American and one parent that's Japanese. So he is kind of both nationalities, but he's clearly he was better at one language. I don't know.
I see that.
Yeah. So I get it, but at the same
Definitely.
time, it's kind of just another one of those weird things in that show. But it's like, it's cool that this is kind of funny.
Yeah.
The show is fucking weird anyway, so might as well.
Exactly.
But anyhow,
So.
my favorite part of the show was episodes 6 through 9. Because that's when you're exposing the demons to the whole world. And I particularly liked that because it explores the implications of that in a way that I didn't expect. Because they have this plan. They're going to expose the demons and fight the demons. Right? It's easy, right? But then, as soon as people realize that they can't tell who's a demon, who's not, they just start fucking killing each other and panicking, and the
Did
whole
that
world
honestly
goes to
seem to
shit
you
so
like-
fast. What?
Did that seem to you like it wasn't what was going to happen to begin with? Like, Rio's plan was so shit from the start. I just can't imagine.
His plan.
Well, so like I kind of felt like the plan was like, oh, they basically created a superhero. Devilman's gonna go around saving the day and like beating up these these demon monsters.
Right. Okay.
And so I kind of felt like I was more prepared for like a, superhero movie than
Uh-huh.
than what actually happened.
Oh yeah.
And
I was a little. It seemed a little like crazy how fast things transitioned from normalcy to like chaos after that tennis or that marathon or the track thing. Almost to a point where I was like kind of confused, like if I missed something. Like I wasn't completely convinced that like society would descend into that much chaos that quickly, like right after something like that happened.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't expect that either, but at the same time, I could see how that would happen.
I don't though, because like in today's social media, like people would see videos like that, and a lot of people probably wouldn't even react. They probably wouldn't even believe that they're seeing a real thing.
Yeah, fake and gay.
Yeah, picking gay. And not only that, like it seemed kind of strange the like nature of the chaos in the sense that like it seemed like there were certain areas of the town that were in chaos and certain areas that were just it was normal, just happened. Like what was her name? Miki, the character, the sister character, not really
The girl.
Yeah, girl character and her family. Like it seemed like everything was completely safe where they were living, but then like 2 blocks away, like there were riots going on and people's faces were getting shot off. What's actually going on here?
Yeah.
But again, I loved these episodes too. I don't actually care that much that I didn't understand anything that was going on. I don't know. It was fine. I was fine with it. It was more about like the things that were happening than why the things happened.
See, I saw it as a kind of like be careful what you wish for sort of thing. You want revolution, you want change, but like you got to be careful how you go about it, or else, things might spiral out of control way faster than you realize.
Yeah, I guess I never even like Akira. I just feel like didn't think that hard about anything.
Pretty
He got
much.
duped in a way that was just like you shouldn't get duped that hard.
I can see what you're going with that. To me, like, I thought the show was just like they were just like it was just absolute chaos, and like it just kept on escalating and escalating after that until like like
Yeah.
he would see it and like he had like he could handle it, but like as it kept on escalating, like he just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
gotta
mean?
say, like, I wasn't expecting by that final. I mean, even up until the final episode, I really wasn't expecting it to end with literally everyone dead and the Earth just like a molten heap.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
By the end? Oh yeah. I could
mean,
definitely
by
see
the
that's where
end,
they were going.
Even episodes like 8 or 9, like I wasn't quite expecting it to get as bad as it continued to get, which is kind of commendable. I feel like I'm being a little critical of the show, but I did love it. I liked it a lot.
Me too. They ruined it. Just kidding. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's a good show. Timeless edginess is probably the best
Yeah.
way to describe it.
For sure.
What's funny too is that this is their second original anime series that they've produced. The first one being the modern masterpiece, Dio Yokio.
I haven't seen that one. What is that about?
It's not about anything. It's about Jaden Smith being the world's most eligible bachelor and ghost hunter or something.
Exactly.
It's terribly animated.
So that is more
it's-
like a superhero? Like he just goes around running, gunning, and getting women?
I don't know, Joey. How would you answer that?
Jaden Smith is a god.
There's an episode about like feminism. There's an episode about communism. There's an episode where they like jump into a pool and like one of them comes out as a girl and the other one comes out as like a what is like a dog or like a bear. What is it? I can't remember. Something stupid. Everything that happens is just unbelievably stupid and like a tastefully stupid. Like I think the use of color jumps out at me more than anything in that show because it's all terrible. Like every like individual choice of color is chosen to be just a little bit off-putting. Like not enough that you're going to say anything about it, but just like a little annoying. Like why did you pick that hair color? Or why did you give that character that voice? It's kind of amazing. There are two camps of people with that show. There's the camp that says it's too bad to watch and just refuses to watch it no matter how bad I want to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the camp that can like appreciate just how amazingly bad it is.
It's like a campy movie, just so bad that it's good.
Yes.
Smoke a couple blunts and then you just press the play button.
It's really like like I think someone else had put it on YouTube. Maybe Giga said it was like, it's the most expensive meme ever made.
Okay.
I think that's putting it pretty well.
That's perfect.
I feel like everyone was in on the joke the whole time, or at least they thought they were. I think everyone was probably in on the joke the whole time, except for Jaden Smith, who thought that he was in on the joke, but really wasn't in on the joke. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going on.
I'll have to check it out.
Give it a good 4 episodes, which is hard for me to ask because it's only 6 episodes long. But
just watch 2/3 of it.
Yeah. But you have to like let it sink in. Like you watch it and you're just like, this is bad and it's terrible and I'm not having fun. But then you get like 3 episodes in and you realize that like you are having fun.
Jaden Smith is a fucking genius.
I was actually talking about this on stream earlier today. Like,
Really?
you see something once, it might be a little bit funny. But if you keep pushing it and keep pushing it, it gets to like this point where it's like obnoxious to a certain degree. But then if you just keep going still and push a bit further, it becomes funny again.
Yeah, you gotta give the show a chance to like really
definitely.
like sink in to you. Also, I just think those last 3 episodes are better than the other 3, just in terms of what they're trying to do. But you still have to watch. It's. I hope they make another season of that show. I really do. I really hope that they make more of that show.
But, okay, back to Devilman. You didn't think that it ended in a nuclear holocaust?
I mean, it ended in a holocaust, for sure. I just don't know if it was nuclear. It seemed like it was like angelic or like demonic explosions that were happening.
How I took it was like they destroyed the earth, but like that's all that mattered. Like that's all that happened. Like they destroyed the earth, big whoop, and then God just makes another one.
Well, it wasn't so much that God makes another one. It's just kind of like time repeats itself. Like
exactly,
kind of rehardens, and then it's just gonna all start up again. Actually, I thought of something I wanted to like commend the show for a lot, which is I thought like during that sequence that they did a really good job, like showcasing like all of the best and worst. Like humanity was at its absolute best and absolute worst in so many ways, like back and forth. Like you saw mob mentality, like just being awful, like people killing each other. You saw those rappers, like some of them just kind of like switched sides amongst the chaos and started killing each other. It was like really heartbreaking. But then you saw like shit like what was that demon's name? Psycho Jenny, the one that was like sending out like rainbow
the hairball
or whatever. Yeah, and like you saw that she died. Like the humans managed to kill her. Like they did this like suicide thing, and they're like for humanity and blew themselves up. And it's just like, it just seemed like a really cool like. This is humanity. This is humanity at its best. This is humanity at its worst. Like it's all happening at once.
Definitely.
I really liked that about what's going on.
Yeah,
I thought they did a good job showing that off.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like that's what I mean by, you want change and you want to change the world for the better, but you really got to be careful.
Yeah, chaos does bring out like the best in people, but it also brings out the worst. Same.
It's awesome.
Sure.
What would you rate the show?
I don't know.
What?
Because it's so like good in some ways, but also I can see a lot of issues.
Yeah, agreed.
Maybe an 8.
I would give it a solid 8.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely
If you had asked me like immediately after watching it, I would have said 10. But now that I've had time to kind of think about it, I'd say 8.
I think if you
Yeah.
would have asked me immediately, I would probably have scored it lower. Like,
Really?
oh yeah, because I did not like the first half of the show. It just felt like
I liked
really
it.
tropey
I
to me.
loved it.
Oh
I'm surprised
God.
by that. I really liked the first half. I thought there was like a lot of stuff to like. There were parts that weren't that great, but there were so
Yeah.
many like individual
Yeah, I
scenes
understood
that
the
I
trope.
loved. Like all the scenes with the rappers were great.
Yeah, I
The
liked the
rappers.
rappers. Um, I don't know.
So-
Like, yeah, tropey is the best way to put it. It's a guy, he's unsatisfied with his current life. Something awesome happens to him. He's a whole new person. He's getting respect
Okay.
from the ladies, and
Okay, I hear that. I think that I was maybe willing to like excuse a lot of that because I realized that the show itself was based on a manga from the 70s that kind of started a lot of those tropes
Mhm.
with.
yeah, that could be it.
But that really, you're right, that isn't much of a like, it still is that. It still is stuff that you've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
before a whole bunch of times. So that's legitimate.
Definitely. Shit, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Also, can I ask one question about that show? Is like
Yeah, what's up?
that kid, the one that like has that unbelievably fucking cool like slam poetry scene where he's like kind of confessing his feelings
What
to the
happened
girl.
to him?
Not just what happened to him. Why is there another character that looks exactly the fucking same?
Nope,
Yeah.
that's
The same
another
character.
guy. Nope, that's a different guy.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
that was stupid. I agree. So
think
I
she
was
ate him.
so confused by that.
She
the
did
whole
eat him.
time.
so what I understood is that like they were doing it or something, and she killed him with her because the Devilmen have like insatiable sexual drive, and I just felt like she was like too much for him to handle, like literally.
Uh-huh.
Because they show him like laying down in bed, rotting.
Really?
Yeah,
Did I miss
Oh
that?
shit, that was him?
yeah. You see
I
his
thought that was his grandma or her grandma.
no. They show like the crushed hand, and that's him. You can tell by his tattoos.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh shit.
But then there's another character that looks identical to him that is like
No, dude,
a
that was a
Devilman.
track runner.
Yes, yeah.
No, no.
The track runner
That
looks
was,
just
like-
like him.
He was introduced in like almost the beginning of the show.
Yeah, he was.
Mhm.
They even wore the same clothing.
Hmm.
Nah,
Why? Why do that? What was the point of that? Like, what are they trying to just confuse the audience, or like?
Well, maybe they're trying to show that that's like her type, the Devil Woman track star.
Oh. Wait.
Because after she kills her boyfriend, she just goes after the Devil Man.
I can't, dude.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. That girl is the same girl as the Devil Woman? They don't look
What?
anything alike at all.
Dude, yeah, because they go through like this major transformation.
Oh my god. Why did they have to change the character's look so much?
To show that they're being possessed by
I
demons.
had no idea that
There's
I
a
was.
demon inside
I was,
them, dude.
Those were the same two girls.
Those-
Those two girls.
Yeah,
were the same.
there's two track girls. There's the flat-chested
I
track
thought there
girl
were three.
and the girl with the big titties.
There's
Yeah,
no third one.
the big titty
I
girl
thought-
gets possessed by a demon, and
She
she
changes.
starts
so
wearing her hair in a
much.
ponytail.
It was the hair. It was the fact that she changed her hair as well that like convinced me that she was a different character. Oh my god, I'm such a. So same person. Oh my god,
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
So anyhow, yeah, the guy confesses his love to that girl, big titty girl. That's her name now.
Okay.
It's fine. That's reasonable.
We all understand who that is.
And then they go to the club together, and she
Uh-huh.
gets possessed. And then she kills the guy number 1. And then she moves on to guy number 2, who looks exactly the fucking same.
Okay, I can at least understand now why there were two similar-looking characters. I guess it's still stupid.
Yeah, no, I agreed. I was a little confused on that too, especially because it's Japanese animation styles, where like sometimes they don't animate the face.
Not only that, Japanese names are harder to remember. So like, if they said those two characters' names at any point, I just wasn't able to like retain them. Just
Yeah.
Because they're
In a different language, that's understandable.
yeah.
I loved it.
I did too. I love how unique it was. Like it's just refreshing to have a show like
Yeah,
that.
like I haven't seen something like that in a long time.
And it's cool because like that kind of thing is not something that you'd ever see on Crunchyroll, like, or like
Yeah.
cast on TV. Like that's something that could
Yeah.
only exist as like a Netflix original series.
Exactly.
And so it's exciting to see that because there's probably going to be more stuff like that. So good on Netflix for producing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see what else they come up with.
Yeah, yeah, me too actually. Because I think what we're gonna get out of Netflix as far as anime is like a very different selection.
Neo Yokio season 2.
Neo Yokio season 10. Give me all of the Neo Yokio. I want to see nothing but Neo Yokio.
But how can Neo Yokio be real if our eyes aren't real?
I don't even know, man. I don't even know. But all I know is I deserve more Toblerone. More giant Toblerone.
Dude, he's the king.
I had a dream that a Toblerone was in trouble. You. They say that. And that's a real dream that's
How
shown
can
on
you
the show.
top that?
You can't top that. You can't beat that.
Oh, shit.
There's one last thing I wanted to say about Devilman. Who the hell has their apartment numbers on the inside?
What?
So the
I
professor,
didn't even see that.
the numbers on his apartment are 666. They like allude to the fact that he's Satan the entire time.
Oh, yeah, Rio?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole apartment was weird as shit to begin with.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like to question that is almost weird compared to questioning anything else, like about that entire character. Like, how did he have that much money? What was he doing? Like, what was that place? What was his secretary? Why does a professor have a secretary in the first place? Why was there a Bible next to the door? Like,
Well, and then like the secretary was like obviously weird.
she at one point turned into a Devilman too.
Yeah.
Like I noticed that she looked different about halfway.
Wait,
through the
wasn't
show.
she like the rainbow thing that the humans sacrificed themselves to kill?
Really?
Yeah.
Was she Psycho Jenny?
Yeah, I think so.
What?
Maybe I'm getting those characters messed up.
No, I feel like you could be right. Like that sounds reasonable considering everything else.
You could just tell by like her eyes, right?
Yeah.
The eyes
Yeah,
are the
that is
same.
the giveaway.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Damn, wow.
So yeah, I feel like they were alluding the entire time that there's something weird about the professor dude. But
I mean, everything he ever
noticed
says
it.
in that entire show is weird.
yeah,
But
that's
it's
true.
weird to the point where it normalizes for you. You just kind of accept this is a weird character. Don't really question enough about it, which is kind of clever, I guess.
He was there the entire time.
He was Satan the entire time.
You just
Exactly.
you just couldn't see it past his eccentricities. Like the fact that he keeps a machine gun in his fucking ridiculous giant coat all the time.
Well, and
What a
so
cool
like
dude.
I kind of felt like he got away with a lot because he was attractive.
You think?
Oh yeah.
I kind of the first question I had, which I was kind of yelling out loud, was like after the club thing was like, why aren't you in jail? Like, how are you just sitting like what? You just went and stabbed a whole bunch of people. Like,
Cause they hid everything, remember?
I guess.
Well, and I think I was under the impression that like yeah, there was monster attacks and Devilman, the new superhero, just came and saved the day. And so people
Yeah.
didn't really like look into how it started. They just assumed that like monsters attacked.
And
I
he was
guess.
the only one to record it.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a huge thing that I didn't get. Like, so there was like a Devilman Society, right? How did Rio like not know about the Devilman Society? Or how did they not know about him? It's
I
a
think
better
they did know
question.
about him. Did they not know about him?
Oh, dude, they only knew about Amon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was just kind of a plot hole for me. But when you're
There's so much. Like the more we talk about this, the more that the whole plot of this show just makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay. It honestly is okay that the plot of the show doesn't make it. I don't have a problem. But I feel like we're asking too much of it at this point. Oh, a stupid question.
Definitely.
Like I feel like it's fruitless to say the things we're saying.
Okay.
Like, I guess I'll say to whoever's watching is like, watch Devilman, but expect plot holes. Like, watch it for the tone, the atmosphere, like the delivery.
if you're into sex and violence at the same time,
Yeah, sex and violence often at the same time.
Just watch it. If you don't like it, that's your opinion.
That's fine. You're allowed to not like it. Everyone's allowed to their own opinion and taste.
so okay, even though I recognize it as good, a solid 8, I wouldn't put it on my like list, favorites list. Like I'm glad that it exists. I'll leave it at that. It's not
I really
my
like that director, but my problem with that director is that every one of his shows I enjoy, but I have a whole lot of trouble recommending any of the shows that he's made. And believe it or not, I think Devilman is actually the easiest one to recommend.
God, really?
Yeah.
I would not
He's
recommend Devilman to most people. I feel
know.
like if I recommended to anybody, to Devilman to the people in my family, they would die of heart attacks.
Who are you?
It's not for the faint of heart.
I don't even know you.
So yeah, the other shows this guy's made, he made Ping Pong, the animation, which is really just a sports anime. It's really good sports anime, but it really is just kind of like a sports anime about ping pong. It's the reason I have trouble recommending that is because it looks like utter dog shit. Like if you thought Devilman looked bad, like just watch some of Ping Pong. I think it's all free to watch on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
The actual animation of the ping pong games themselves are glorious, but you have to know what you're looking for. But overall, I think that show's actually pretty easy to recommend. But it's also a sports anime, which isn't for everybody. He made a show called Kaiba, which I really, really want to recommend because it's actually a really cool show. It looks nothing like Devilman or Ping Pong, but it has its own look, and the look is really nice. And it's this weird kind of almost cyberpunk space thing.
Okay.
And also, that's also kind of cutesy in a way, but in kind of it's a very depressing show. The thing that I have trouble recommending it to people for is that the ending is the last 2 episodes are a little too anime for even me. It ends a little too happily for the rest of the show. The ending
It's too cheesy.
The ending almost strikes me as something where the producers stepped in and forced him to. It doesn't fit the show. The ending of that show really doesn't fit it, and I have trouble recommending a show where I don't
Maybe just cut for time.
Yeah, so Kaiba, the first 8 episodes are fantastic, but I have trouble recommending it because of the last 2. And then Tatami Galaxy is really fucking good. And really way different looking than the other shows. All of his shows look way different from one another. And that show is really cool. It's about college. It's like a Groundhog Day thing where this kid is repeating. He doesn't want to he doesn't know what he wants to do in college, so he's kind of repeating it over and over again to try to because he wants he wants to get the perfect college experience. He wants to get the ideal experience of his 4 years of college. He wants to make the best of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's kind of stuck in this loop where he's doing it over and over again, and there's some kind of weird sci-fi shit to it. But the problem with that show, for me recommending it, is that he narrates it, and the whole show is narrated in the first person, and he talks unbelievably fast. I think he's talking fast for a thematic reason. It's because life moves really fast, and you got to keep up with it. So you're trying to keep up with his narration. But because I don't speak Japanese, I have to read what he's saying. And it's 12 episodes long, and I think it probably took me twice as long as the whole show to watch it because I had to keep pausing to read what was on the screen.
And then there's other people talking while he's narrating it.
Yeah, it's an incredibly hard show to watch if you are not a native speaker of the language.
Uh-huh.
Or a super fast reader.
Yeah, which is a shame because the show is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But
See,
I
that
don't even
doesn't
know if I
bother
want to
me.
watch it. If that doesn't bother you, I would highly recommend checking that show out, Tommy Galaxy.
Tommy Galaxy. Well, maybe we'll talk about it after I
Yeah.
watch it.
I'd have to watch it again. It's been a long time. But yeah, be prepared to like just have your hand over that spacebar key, I guess. If you watch it. You got to be able to read fast.
Yikes.
I think he's made some more stuff, but that's all I've seen by him. So
Okay then.
Well,
kind of launched into that. But
would you recommend Devilman? Yes,
I would
right?
recommend Devilman. I would recommend everybody check out Devilman. Even if it's not your thing, you can just stop watching.
I would recommend it.
I would recommend watching I would recommend anyone watch one full episode. You got to see at least the nightclub scene before you make a decision.
So the thing is, like, so that's totally not my cup of tea. That's just, like, too graphic, too violent, too sexual than I liked in my media. So, personally, I thought the first episode was the worst, and it really built up as it explored more themes.
That's interesting.
But that's just, I guess I don't have enough testosterone in my veins to enjoy the sexiness.
I didn't like it just because it was graphic and sex and like just tons of sex and violence. I liked the way the sex and violence was delivered. I just thought it was really offbeat and just kind of like interesting. I just thought the whole scene was very interestingly done. And there's like the way the use of color, the use of like music, and just I thought there were so many like individual things that I just liked. I liked like seeing him in the first person, like stabbing people. I just thought it was all good. I don't know. I just thought it was a really well done scene that happened to have a lot of sex.
Oh, mother.
Playing the guitar?
I feel like probably it's most recommendable because it is only 10 episodes long.
Yeah.
And so I personally really like when they just, get to the point. Especially the second half of the series went so fast for me because I was really enjoying it that, it's enjoyable to watch, and, you don't have to invest 18 years into it like Naruto.
Oh God, yeah. I don't recommend Naruto.
So for that,
lot of
being a
filler.
concise, digestible story, I would recommend it. But for
Yeah.
the faint of heart,
That's my
I
preferred
cannot.
anime. I have trouble watching any anime that's more than like 30 episodes.
Oh, you hipster.
What? No, I feel like the hipsters are like, you can't develop the world in 30 episodes.
I think the best world building I've ever seen in a show is like Log Horizon.
What?
Yeah. You heard me.
No.
You fucking heard me.
What?
You don't like Log Horizon?
Hell no.
Have you seen Log Horizon?
Yeah, I watched.
Have you seen all of it?
I watched the first season.
And you didn't like it?
Couldn't stand it.
What
It was-
the
it
fuck
was
is wrong
so-
with you? Get off
it
this
was-
podcast, dude.
It was so trash can.
Oh my god.
When I saw there was a second
you and
season,
trash
I didn't
can.
even watch it. I was so okay, so what did you like about it?
I loved everything about it. I loved the game. Like that MMO is just everything that modern MMOs should be and aren't. Like it's
Like-
just so and the exploration of it, like the way they use like the modern MMO like ideas to like build an actual world that people live in, and like the way that like politics enters into it, like I don't know, like I feel like we could launch into a whole thing with this show, but we probably shouldn't.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't. We should save Log Horizon for another day. Maybe I'll watch an episode or two. And we'll talk about
I
it.
remember there was like a show that was airing on the same season that everybody else was talking about. And then there was Log Horizon.
Yeah, that show that I was talking about was Sword Art Online.
I don't know what it's called, but
Sword Fart Online, dude.
I
Sword,
think
worst female writing ever online. No, but
What, girl that
seriously,
gets tentacle raped isn't a real character archetype?
yeah, what?
no.
That's not a fully fleshed out female lead for you?
No.
Yeah, what?
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with the fucking person that wrote that goddamn
No,
show?
I don't even.
Like,
What's wrong with like the incredibly
Did-
rabid following of that show?
yeah. Has he, like, ever met a woman? Like, ever?
No comment.
No.
I could say something like lame about like nerds or something like that, but I bet the guy that wrote Log Horizon just gets all the ladies. So
Absolute Chad.
absolute Chad dad. Well, the guy that wrote Log Horizon, he's a sad lad.
Well, but I think we should start wrapping it up here. Is there any closing statements you guys want to add about the Switch or Devilman?
Play Snake Pass. It's
I
good.
can't wait to get the Switch, man. I
you gonna
hope
get
I
one?
get it someday, but like right now, I have no plans on getting it. I just got the new PlayStation VR. That thing is insane. Yeah,
Oh yeah, we should talk about that.
that thing is dope. It's really expensive, but like, it's awesome. I can't wait to get the Switch though. And then, dude, they're making like a new Dark Souls game. Wait, no.
Oh, no,
yeah,
they're
they're
remastering Dark Souls for...
Yeah.
Well, they're remastering it and it's coming out for the Switch.
And they're making like another Bloodborne game or something. I don't know. It's just I can't wait. And then maybe Kingdom Hearts 3 will come out. You know, like, alright, man.
Maybe
all I have to
Kingdom
say.
Hearts 3 will come out.
Dude, I don't know.
Maybe
Give
at
it
some
maybe
point.
5 more years. Yeah, like,
Just 5 or 10 more years. Don't worry about it.
and then we'll get that Final Fantasy 7 remake. And,
Well,
yeah.
once Star Wars like characters are established Disney characters, and we can put them in Kingdom Hearts. That's
Oh.
what Kingdom
Oh,
shit.
damn. And they just bought
Chill,
Fox,
chill.
too?
Yeah, dude. So you can get Bill O'Reilly in there with Goofy,
Oh,
and Skywalker.
that's some good stuff.
And I'm getting hyped for Kingdom Hearts 3. And I want to play Bill O'Reilly.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right, so that's the podcast. That's Dead Air and Lag Spike. We'll be back next week without Joey, thank God. Or maybe with Joey, who knows?
Tony's way cooler.
Probably Sunday next week, though, right? Or am I making that up?
I don't know where you're getting that from, but I mean, I'm not against Sunday.
Well, I guess you should just follow us on Twitter. So you
Yeah.
can see our Twitter information appear on the underneath our little orbs.
Yeah.
So drop a follow. Hope you guys had a good time in listening to our oh so highly respected opinions about Switch stuff and Devilman. I've had a good time, and
I had a good time.
we will be doing more of
I
these
cried.
podcasts in the future.
All right, peace out, everyone.
Have a good night, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Peace.